It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Nima Akashat Zibiri, how you doing?
Fine. Very fine.
How was your weekend? Did you rest?
Weekend was fine, no. I didn't rest. There's no resting during weekends. But we were grateful to God. We had a major hit over the weekend. I'm just happy.
Really?
Grateful to God.
Wow.
Things happening at home. But did you guys have an elder sister while growing up? One that would just be in your neck, bully you all through your life?
No elder sister, eldest child. So.
Okay, so I'm just lucky I have two elder ones. And my immediate elder sister, today is her birthday. Okay. And all I could think of was how I used to get bullied as a child. And even as an adult, she would still come and say, Nima, it's what I say that will happen. I say, it won't happen. But today is Keke's birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Keke.
I've been trying to do her reels since morning. It's not loading. Yeah. I love you. You've been the most troublesome, but most consistent. Keke would have time for everybody, family members. She's the one that lives in Alagbado that I would not visit, but it will not cost her anything. If she has to do Okada, she'll get to your house. She'll check you on your children. She's just there. Thank you for being the role model sister.
All right, let me move to Tope. How are you doing?
I'm good. Very grateful to God for life. I was attacked in traffic on Friday, and I know we'll discuss it later. Then on Saturday, I went to church for Thanksgiving. And after the Thanksgiving, as I was going back home, it just occurred to me that we tend to be very grateful when we have close shaves, but we're not conscious of the days when we just go out and come back home, that there are many things that we did not know that could have happened that did not happen. But when the day not happen, you now have extra time to be grateful to God. Like, I should be grateful to God like this every day, regardless of if anything huge happened. But just very, very grateful to God. That mood is still there.
Yeah. How you doing, Mariam? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. So I went to, BC and I went to Princess Things. Yes, her comedy show.
Oh,
we went early. And we had to leave early. No, she didn't see us, but we enjoyed the pre-show, I guess. A couple of comedians came. There was music. There was food, that she was selling. And, I left quite early, so I'm sure when I left, many people come. Because Lagos people like night parties, night things for me.
You don't live in Lagos?
You people, nah. The Lagos is in their blood. Yeah, so I got home early, but yes. I sent her a shout-out. Hope she sees it on social media. Just say that we're supporting her.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm so happy that you guys could make it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be. I had so many assignments to do. It was unbelievable. I had a lot of catching up. How was it fun?
We saw that your beautiful trouser and top.
I love that.
That was a Saturday, yes. So Friday, I can't even remember what I did. Friday, I did something. I went out. Saturday, too, I went out. But everything, shall we thank God? I can't remember. What was wrong with me? Am I going
I think it was Jaya. I saw.
Yeah, Gaia. Gaia had an event on Saturday, and I was invited, and I was grateful for the opportunity.
What's Gaia?
It's a business club for women.
Okay.
So they try to bring in certain kinds of women to come together, to support each other, to be there, and it's an interesting group. I'm thinking of becoming a member, but I'm considering.
You're vetting them, yeah.
No, I'm not.
They're the ones vetting you?
No. I don't even know, but we'll see.
You're taking your time.
I'm taking my time. I don't want to rush into anything.
Yeah,
okay.
I found out.
All right.
But let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go to the front page of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with The Nation. How federal government plans to utilize fresh foreign loans. really pathetic picture here of a starved lion at the Imo State Zoology Garden and Wildlife Park. Really, really painful to see a starved living thing.
Like they've forgotten about
Collapsed Ikoyi building not insured. Ndume, ISOP regrouping in Borno North. Man worried over, that's MA, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, worried over the looming 1.9 trillion revenue loss. 3,500 killed by cholera, says NCDC. And NDLEA seizes 4.9 billion naira cocaine and heroin. Okay.
Should I start with my NDLEA story?
Please, go ahead.
So, operatives of NDLEA have seized fresh consignments, they say, of cocaine and heroin with a combined weight of 16.85 kilograms, worth over 4.9 billion naira. And this was at the Apapa Seaport and also the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The different places, so the seaports, some ships, a couple of ships, MV Kateria brought in about 13.65 kilograms of cocaine that was seized all the way from Brazil. You know, another ship too was intercepted, you know, from Brazil as well. Then a Nigerian from South Africa at the international, when they got into Lagos, when he was checked, he was found with heroin on him that he was trying to send all the way to Delta. So all the people on that supply chain, those that were supposed to pick it up from him, the person coming from Delta to pick it up from Lagos, NDLEA was able to catch all of them.
Wow.
Then a couple of people were arrested in Enugu, someone in Bauchi, someone in Gombe, all of them with one form of illegal drug or the other on their persons. So thank God NDLEA is quite widespread and they're following intelligence because, you know, it's one thing to just catch one person, but to be able to catch the whole ring. Yes, good.
Okay, so if you recall, the House of Representatives Committee last week, I think last August actually, resolved to amend the Finance Act to include levies on carbonated and non-carbonated drinks. But the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria have cautioned them. They said that the impact of the excise duty regime for the carbonated drinks would lead to 1.9 trillion naira loss of revenue to the country. And according to them, this would affect the country between 2022 and 2025 financial time. And I'm trying to even find the quote exactly from the chairman fruit juice manufacturer, that's Fred Chiazo. He was very specific, saying that it will shrink the beverage sector's contribution to the country's gross domestic product as GDP, which estimates about 35% of the GDP. Taxes are important, yes.
But I watched a video from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and she was talking about how a lot of the tariffs are shrinking the capacity of our economy, and so we must review, we must have extensive conversation. I know we want to generate money, but it must be done in a way that will not reduce the capacity of the functioning industries that we have.
But carbonated drinks should be, I mean, they've been...
No, we said expensive.
The new ones, the new industry, yes, you can give them that kind of tax.
I'll take the story of, I've been asking the question concerning insurance.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I wanted to take the major headline.
Go ahead, please.
So, according to this nation reports, federal governments, they're trying to get another loan, about 16.2 plenty. Let me break it down. They're applying to the Nigerian National Assembly to approve a 16.23 billion and 1.02 billion euro loans. There's also a $125 million grant approved by the Senate for the federal government. This will be used for projects in power, digital economy, industries, education, transportation, finance, national planning, women affairs, environment, and climate, as well as government institutions. This, of course, whether we like or the breakdown, would show our debt stock to 52 trillion naira. I'm just always interested in these stories because if they are not doing what they claim to want to do with it, we might not get anywhere. If you read the story clearly, you will see what they are planned to use for electrification projects. This is good, but we've said that some of these areas should be privatized. Are we pushing on with the privatization, or we're just, doing electrification project that is not clear? as to what we are planning. So we are borrowing money that we can't generate revenue to pay back.
That we were celebrating.
Discussion with Siemens. So we don't know how far that has gone.
That's why I'm wondering why we're going to get a World Bank loan, some World Bank assistance.
Maybe we need to raise our own
some
part
of this.
of the money in collaborations like this.
Okay, let's move to another.
I want to take the collapsed building story. So
okay, go ahead.
We've been asking that question, and right now Nation has confirmed that the 21-story building on Gerard Road, Ikoyi, that killed 44 people lost their lives in that building wasn't insured. It is in...
What?
It wasn't insured. There's a section, the owner of the project, Femi Oshibono, who also passed in the rubble of the building, did not obey sections 64 and 65 of the Insurance Act 2003, where every building above 2 floors must be insured. So this definitely wasn't insured. The Nigerian Insurance Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers complained that they were not included in the committee that was going to review the 30-man committee. But however, the
6-man committee.
The committee that was meant to review the 30 days committee, that insurance was a pivotal part of this thing, and they should have been included as well. The man also mentioned that the general manager of the Lagos State Building Control Agency, Mr. Gbolahan Oke, had actually called them, the insurance, to see how they can better insure buildings before this collapse happened, actually. That they had that meeting, planning how to roll out more implementation of insurance across buildings.
But
sadly,
now,
some families won't be getting compensation.
The Punch. INEC lists core members to conduct direct primaries. NDLA launches fresh raids, seizes 4.9 billion naira cocaine in Lagos port. I think we talked about that. Benenua kills daughter, beheads neighbor's corpse as money rituals fails in Ogun. Group fumes as Unilorin female lecturer hospitalized over assault by student. Invasion, provost blames land grabbers, miners as Osun quizzes principal officers. Picture here of Ijayi section of the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway after the rain. That is a serious flood right there.
As in, almost over the car.
Chevron, ExxonMobil, others to pay NNPC 156 billion naira for crude exports. I don't know what happened to the camera recovered at Lekki Tollgate, says Fashola. And Singaporean French firms by Courtney, 10 others, just for the Nigeria's four international airports. Okay.
So let me just say the Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, it was... You know, there was a picture of him after the NSAS protest visiting the Lekki toll gate, and him finding the camera. And so he was asked that what happened to the camera, and his explanation was that he was seen to have handed over the camera to the investigation team, and he has no idea what happened. The question shouldn't be directed towards him, that it should be directed towards him.
I don't even know how that made front page.
Yeah.
I'm not, because it's not a story to make front page.
It was during an interview, and I think because memes have been made and people are still
let's take another story.
Yeah, so this
human interest.
So this the police command have arrested 2 people. One a Benenua, his name is Karezu. He's a 32-year-old, and a Togolese, Anagonu Kamelan. So the ritualists, they were arrested based on intelligence. Police had laid an ambush at a herbalist that they were going to be visiting. This herbalist is known for money rituals, and they had told them that this couple, these men were coming with human head to meet him. And, you know, 2 hours of laying ambush, these people arrived on a motorcycle with human head in a bag. They found out that he had exhumed a body of his neighbor who had died and took the head off. And he had done it. This was not the first time he had done it. He had done it before with his own child. And it did not work. So now this one that he was arrested for was the 3rd time around. He was trying to see if it would work. And the other person with him was the person that sort of helped him get this particular head. Anyway, they've been arrested. And I don't understand. So obviously this does not work. For you to have tried 3 times, that is even still a thing that we won't have herbalists that this is what they do, human rituals and taking human heads to do things like that.
I don't even know what to say.
These police officers, they tried some of the things that they see.
When I think of the police, I mean, they really, really need some kind of compensation because the kind of work they do. I mean, I don't know how I can survive. You know?
Yeah.
I watched that movie, the movie by Collision by Bonale Hospitals, and it just showed us exactly the story of the policeman and the average citizen. It's a very good movie to watch, actually.
Yeah,
go ahead, please. Very quickly.
INEC is, according to their National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education, Mr. Festus Okoye.
Let me pause you for a second, Nim. I'm sorry about that. I have to go for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll take that headline. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on the major headline in the Punch. Yes, Nima, INEC lists core members to conduct direct primaries. Go ahead, please.
So, according to Mr. Festus Okoye, some parties would like to do, or some political parties would like to do direct elections in direct primaries in about 8,809 wards across the country, in the 36 states as well as the FCT that we have. And of course, because according to him again, the NYSC is the single largest pool of personnel that they have available, they would be resorting again to, to core members. This is, in support of those arguing for the continuity of the NYSC. But then he then talked about the costs of running such an election. He said that in the past they had spent 2.7 million alone on, getting ad hoc staff, and the largest number of the ad hoc officials were from the NYSC. Just talking about.
Can they just do properly? Like there be insurance?
Keep this. Yes, keep our children safe. That's all we ask of you. Keep our children safe.
This is just
please
responding to for my next side, not about NYSC.
I want to take the story of Chevron, ExxonMobil, others to pay NNPC 156 billion naira for crude exports. These are NNPC and Chevron and ExxonMobil are partners in exporting crude oil. This is a payment for the August 2021 exportation. They paid 2 months after that, and they are saying that this is a very needed. We really need this money, especially because according to OPEC, our production level dropped in October, which meant that the next month we won't be having that much money. But it's just basically announcing the fact that we're going to be getting a bit of capital injection for our finances to the tune of 156 billion from these foreign our partners. But there's another story that caught my eye, which is a story of concession, airport concession. So they're concessioning 4 international airports. We want to concession the Muritala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Malam Aminu Kano Airport in Kano, and Port Harcourt International Airport. They have about 13 consortium of different local and foreign companies have submitted their checks. My expectation is when they concession, there's a lot of money being made. This is a lot of money will be made. Can we be sure that there is a strong regulatory body that would ensure that what is expected from this concessionist, the companies that will get it, they implement it to the core, because our airports are still very much primitive in looks, and we can do better. This is like the first point of call when people come into the country. It should
not
be
only
welcoming.
Looks, in functionality.
Yes, please.
When somebody comes to take care, they're also getting loans from somewhere else to come and invest, to come and build their own. So when you say they're making money, I'm not sure where that money.
Yeah, they will make they make the money
eventually after,
yes,
after
they
many
do.
years. After years. Okay, let's move on to
There's
Daily
cash flow
Sun.
from the airport.
Outrage over 54% hike in electricity meter prices. Direct primaries row shouldn't scuttle passage of electoral bill. Kano negotiations with federal government on political solution at advanced stage, says Ohanize. U.S. supports Nigerian editors' capacity building program with 93 million naira. We have revenue generating challenge, DG Budget Office says, and NDDC Niger Delta opposes inclusion of Lagos and Bauchi and Ogun State. Okay, which story? Major headline?
US backs editors capacity building. According to the Sun, the Nigerian Guild of Editors got $226,889, which is a total of 93.3 million naira, to help them in areas of capacity building, trainings, which they plan to do in the 6 geopolitical zones in the country, to also to printing and distribution of the journalism code of ethics and all of those so that they can get them to that point where they can confidently carry out their duties, which is, of course, to check democracy, pass the right information, investigate, and give out the right stories. Yeah, this is good news for the Guild of Editors and good news for us.
Right. Major headline. So the Christian Association of Nigeria has warned that the rising electricity tariff and cooking gas will worsen the plight of Nigerians. So from the report, you just see that CAN is highlighting some of the issues that we're facing, as Nigerians, talking about insecurity and how government needs to do better, talked about the 2023 elections and encouraging Nigerians to take advantage of the continuous voter registration, which is true. We need to take advantage of that. Also expressed their worry over the extortion of returning Nigerians at the airport. So it's just basically everything that we continually talk about and that government needs to pay more attention to and rectify.
So let me take the budget story. The Director General of the Budget Office, Ben Akabwezi, speaking to the fact that Nigeria is projected to have a 13% inflation for 2022. And based on our expenditure, we're going to be spending more money on our budget, 12.5% higher than the 2021 budget, that over 32 million citizens of Nigeria are refusing to pay taxes. He made this known while he was having a session with the media executive and civil society, non-governmental organization on stakeholders generally on 2022 budget. And he's saying the government is targeting to find more people into the tax bracket, right, that there is need for them to bring more people in. They're projecting that we'll have about 15% by 2025, more people paying taxes.
All right, so Nnamdi Kanu might be released fairly soon because the negotiations and talks have reached advanced stages, according to Ohanes Indigbo. And they're saying that they have political solutions, and they're asking for the federal government to release the modalities for these solutions. Let us see what you're offering, and let's see how we can ensure that both of them reach a compromise so that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu could be released soon. Moving on now to The Point. 5 years after Aregbesol's 16.5 billion naira mega schools in ruins. 4 years after Magodo House of Evans kidnapped cartel leader deserted. Equity markets gained 980 billion naira in 1 month. Anambra, where is APC's crack team? Okay.
Yes, so yes, Osun State is in the front page, and this report is trying to, sort of bring up the feud or the perceived feud between the last administration and the present, that's the Aregbesola administration and the present administration, because the reporter took pictures of the schools that were built by the Aregbesola administration. We remember he had built 11 mega schools, which they said cost about over 16 billion naira, 147 elementary schools, 49 middle schools. He had introduced new policies, but they say 5 years later, most of these schools are in ruins. I mean, the pictures, we see the sad pictures. And there's also talks of the present administration to do an integrity test on some of the buildings, because in 2018 there was a collapse. And the Aregbesola team feel that this is just a witch hunt. They're like, you've been in office 3 years, why now? But they are saying, well, there has been a collapse, and and we actually put someone who did the integrity test and says that 4 of those buildings needed to be checked again. And it says also those mega schools, they were built for a 3,000 student capacity, but most of them are underutilized. You have many schools with 900, I think as the highest, 500, 700. Right. So most of it just laying fallow. And they said concerning the falling apart, the management, they said they found that the facility management angle was ripping them off. That because they paid a foreigner from Scotland 7,500 monthly, all expenses paid by the government. Then they had supervisors 4 who they paid 2.5 million naira monthly. Then they had facility managers that they paid 750,000 naira monthly, and still principals and students were involved in maintaining the schools. So they had to also stop that because they couldn't afford it anymore.
There are so many sides to this story, because the truth is that it's another factor of we the people. So when Aregbesola wasn't there, yes, he built and left, but somebody's supposed to maintain and take care, right? Who's going to ensure? So there are different sides to this story. And if you build a 3,000 capacity school, it's because you have a dream for 3,000 children. But if 3,000 children are not in that school, somebody's not recruiting children to that school. Or the families are not aware that there's a school available for the So if I'm pointing a finger at you, I'm pointing far back at myself.
In fact, the picture of the two buses parked showed abandonment.
Yes. Yeah.
That one is just simply annoying for me. Because to use a car, you need to maintain the car. Simple. And there's an administration in office. Why are we going back and forth playing politics with people's lives? You know, when I took Kwara Lane, I left the Kwara Lane story to attend to the commissioner's response about past administration and all of that. Run the state. Enough of this.
Don't complain about previous, what they didn't do.
Yeah,
talk about what you can do and what you're not doing. Politics.
Politics, yeah. Moving on now to Nigerian Tribune, we might have to run, but let me just find a story we've not taken at all. How 1.5 trillion naira COVID-19 fund was spent, says Finance Ministry. Terrorists have regrouped in Lake Chad, Axis Ndume raises the alarm. Uniloring student beats female lecturer to stupor. And downpour in Lagos damages houses, electric poles, and vehicles. Okay, which story? Let's go on.
400-level students of microbiology in the Faculty of Life Sciences, University of Ilorin, had gone to meet his supervisor. His name is Captain Walls. He's a popular student in school. And this, his project supervisor, Mrs. Zakaria, he's supposed to do what they call SIWES. This is a compulsory student industrial work experience scheme. And he didn't want, or he did not do it. And so he went to her to ask for her to sort of waive it for him. They said that she insulted him. And then he proceeded to beat her. And she tried to escape. He went after her, strangled her until she was unconscious. Luckily, she was taken to the hospital. She's fine. But that he had planned that he was going to beat her to death. First of all, I think they need to check if everything okay. And thank God, you know, she did not die in the process.
Yes, very quickly, the Ministry of Finance responded to Femi Falana's letter requesting a breakdown of how the 1.5 trillion naira COVID intervention was spent. According to them, 500 billion of such intervention was sent to MDAs to implement critical intervention programs. And they said that the other half was given to private sectors through the CBNs, financial institutions, and single-digit interest rates.
Which has replied him,
no, they replied, and they now said that 52 billion of that money was earmarked for the 774,000 jobs. That's where the contention is. Everybody now.
Okay, we have to run.
Job?
See, my mind is still on this, the Aregbesola thing, because it bothers me because it means that we move one step forward, we move 10 steps backwards. And I'm saying that because it happened with the Ambode sector. So Fashola came in, did so much, and the next one comes in, did not continue. Somebody does. So, you know, so are we moving forward? That's the real question. That's the hot topic.
Is that
politics when you continue,
when your successor is from your administration, it's supposed to be a continuity that is supposed to be easy. That's why people vote same party sometimes. Those are the sentiments.
Because we feel like
and then we are talking as if we're on different sides.
So it's like, how did you phrase it now?
I said politics at the detriment of our own development.
It's really sad indeed. Let's go on a break. When we return, what's our hot topic of the day? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is the issue of security. And we're going to, I would like to start with Tope, because I know last week you talked about an issue that happened. You were saying that people reached out to you on the expressway concerning the fact that young boys are robbing. You know, unfortunately, you then encountered exactly what you said last week. So since you are here with us, we might as well just start with you, because it's important for us to remind ourselves to be safe. Because yesterday when I was driving home from the island, because of your story, I came through Third Milan Bridge, but I went straight to Ikorodu Road. I didn't go through that expressway going towards Magodo. I cut through to Ikorodu Road so that not so I don't go through what she went through. But let me give you a few minutes to share your experience with us, and then we'll open the phone line because sometimes people need to share and express their own stories so government understands what people are going through and they can help us to double up on efforts. Thank you very much. Tope, go ahead, please.
So on Wednesday on the show, like early on Wednesday morning, someone reached out to me, former staff of TVC, called me to say that he was attacked on Monday. Yeah. And he described where he was attacked. He was attacked around Uronshoki, between Uronshoki and Ugudu area, and he said that he had heard that attacks had taken place within that area before, and then it happened to him where his driver's side of the car window was smashed and he was robbed. Then I came on the show on Wednesday to spoke about it. On Friday, I had an event on the island, and on my way back, because I had gone on Thursday, I came back late trying to avoid traffic, and my mom was like, no, maybe you said there are robbing people, come earlier. So on Friday, I deliberately came back earlier. This attack happened around 7:30, so it wasn't like very late in the night, but there was traffic. So the Alakpere Bridge taking you into 7-Up was where the attack took place. And because I knew, I'm conscious of the fact that they usually rob, I had been looking around and I saw that there were police officers on the bridge. They are always parked there anyway. And they were clustered around. There was like a young man on the floor. So I felt maybe they caught one of the robbers. And then they were talking to him. I drove barely 2 minutes after that. I was flanked by 2 men. And
on both sides?
On both sides. And they were hitting the window. Somewhere in my head, I cannot lose anything. I just swerved like I cannot be wrong. I swerved, and I swerved to the side of this guy. So because of my sharp swerve, he ran away. And I got into another lane. The other guy that was on my side kept hitting until he broke the glass. So, but I kept on finding, and it was bumper to bumper level of traffic. So,
yeah, so I couldn't really maneuver.
There wasn't much maneuver, and it had not broken through then. Then I drove, there was a trailer by my side. I kept maneuvering over and over again until I was able to escape him, though he still followed through till he was able to break through. But I think other drivers also were aware of what was going on, and the little they could do was to make room for me to get into their front. So they made room and all of that. When I finished with that, the people were now shouting that, enter, 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 you try. Even a woman, you try. Of course, just glass shards on my body. And then I must also mention the fact that immediately I called my husband and my producer, and Dolapo was with my husband when after it happened. So incident happened. So Dolapo immediately reached out to a few people to say, one of our presenters got robbed in this place. How did that happen? The DPO came to my house that night to ascertain that he was there, that he knew, he just left the place after they caught someone and he was going back to the station, that they are always watching out for that particular place.
Interestingly, I was fairly behind you because I was passing that route around 9-ish and I saw policemen. I mean, I was even scared because there were so many of them. Interestingly, they were carrying cutlasses and was walking down the Alakwa area, see if they were trying to let's say they were looking for some people. I mean, so I was wondering what happened here that everybody's just, all the police are all over the place because they are doing the roads. They collapse the lanes into one. So if you're coming in through the express, all the 4 lanes come into one. So there is a congestion. So I think that's what people take this opportunity to rob people. And that's why those policemen were there. But even though they were there, I think we also need reinforcements, or we also need to help each other because these boys would always come because the police can't really multiply.
So in my head, I was wondering, playing it back, what could they have done? They did a little, which was to make room for me to get into their front because it was bumper to bumper traffic. But somebody was telling me what someone did for him was that when he was being robbed, the driver beside him swerved and hit the guy, which incapacitated him. And I think that if the more awareness people have that, you can do that to help out someone because you might not be able to, you might just be able to.
But if you do that, the person has a gun and shoots and calls, so you have to be very careful.
Then having more lights on the roads, those kind of things, lights will definitely help. But Nima experiences this a lot, so.
The constructions that are happening, they can, speed up, and then because the traffic builds up on those areas where construction are happening, you can just reinforce those areas on foot patrol as well as vehicle patrol. That's what I believe works, because being stuck between a truck and in between 2 trucks is the most risky thing for any car user on Lagos roads. Timing and based on my experiences, timing and all of those things exposes you. So what you need is to be able to see that there's somebody on foot. Imagine the one we had on the Oshodi Expressway, and I'm just landing on the other side of last mile. Now see all your policemen and last mile, they are gisting. How do you think I would feel? You know, you've just paid, because I usually have to pay. I don't want to risk what I've experienced in the past. I think last year, he made the papers. A young man was standing at, you know, a first gate bus stop on his way to work. Point blank shooting. That's what happens. So we need those areas where they are constructing, because now that you're talked about it, they are still doing the Oshodi Apapa Expressway, and they're getting closer to Second Rainbow. By La Casera, you have the boys there. If they knock on your glass, you have to pay something. You either drop anything they ask, you have to drop it. So we cannot continue to expose our citizens to this.
An extortion.
Let's please, you know, reinforce, beef up those red zones and let
I
people
have to
be
say
secure
that
to
also
pass.
because of your experience. When I went for Princess Thing on Sunday, I was very careful to leave early because I did not want to, you know, find myself in a situation like that, especially as, you know, Akwangwa is also one of the ways I have to follow. So the bridge is also, I have trauma because I've been robbed there once before, and my husband maybe more than 3 times just on that. In fact, now they hail himself, so they hail him, they know him. So the thing is, the Akwangwa area, the bridge, there's some bumps, because they've done some road works and they're still working on that road, there's some bumps and it slows traffic. Yeah. So do you know that road to my house, it takes maybe 10 minutes max, you know, on a Sunday we should take that. But it took a little meeting with myself and my driver. Where should we go? Do you think we ended that conversation with Madam, may I have faith? I said, okay, we had to use our faith to go through that road. But I remember, you know, while on the bridge, I was happy to see the street lights. It just gave me a little confidence. The street light was so bright everywhere. You could see everybody's faces. I didn't see any police presence, but, you know, traffic was free flowing.
So I think the lights would actually help in this area. So if we can help the government to please give us more light on that area, maybe at least it will serve as a bit of a deterrent, because those boys don't want to be totally recognized by people. Let me go on a break. When we come back, we take some phone calls and tweets. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Where are we? Okay, so we're back. Now, I'd like to take some Facebook messages and tweets on this, because I know that many Nigerians go through, not just in Lagos, across the country, issue of safety. And I think when we have a platform like this, it's important for us to remind our leaders of the little things that can be done to help enhance security for citizens.
Let me talk about the impact on business.
I was going to talk about how it's been done before. Right. You know, in the past, when we're talking about lighting up areas, the past administration, particularly in Lagos State, immediate past, focused on all of that. We saw a total light-up project, and I got relieved by the packed police vehicles in areas. Imagine getting to Trade Fair Under Bridge at night before. But during that administration, they were packed all the way
and there was light
to the entrance of my estate. To divert like this, you will see them. I knew them, we knew each other before it became like this. So the exposure that we are suffering now is because of that. And in my own area, I have to resort to the boys. The good boys of Lagos are now my friends. So you imagine you have to pay because you don't want somebody to see you being robbed and act like they don't know you. So this would affect areas where there's commercial activity. People want to go and patronize businesses, but they are afraid of how it is. And we know the areas, so we know what the key areas to focus on and improve on.
I have a call from Ikosi. Good morning, Femi. Are you there?
Good morning.
Hello, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to everyone over there.
Morning.
And Tope, I'm so sorry for what you experienced. And one thing I'm sure of is, if you are very familiar with that route, you discover that things like that are very common. I follow that route every day. And you know the funny thing? Those boys, we know them, we know their people. The police, I don't want to say the police are lying, but they are always there, but they're not doing their work. They like stopping young boys passing I experience it most times. I use the muscle car. You see that muscle car, anybody using that car is like they are in trouble. The moment they fight you, they will stop you. Police. So instead of focusing on those boys that are trying to, perpetrate those evils, they will be chasing boys or chasing guys that are stopping their cars and then looking for ways to extort money from them. There was a Sunday, I was coming from church. I attended Easter. I was coming from church. They stopped me on top of the bridge. I was descending the bridge. Another set of policemen stopped me. The same time, the same day. So they are not addressing these issues. I know many of those boys. I know their faces.
Thank you very much, Femi. So, yeah, there are some police that probably are not doing the work they're supposed to do. But I know I have seen quite a few on standby in that road, because I have passed through that road several times, and they've been on standby. I was even shocked to see them holding cutlasses.
I even saw them catch a young man, and like I saw it before my own incident happened. So I must. It's not. Of course, there are parts where there's need for improvement.
Of course,
across board. But I saw them that evening. They had caught one of a boy who was probably a criminal, and they held him down by their van, while another one took place. But here is another part we must understand. Where would they put all these boys? We cannot. It's not just about arresting them. Arresting is not the only solution. If we cannot arrest all the hoodlums, where will we put them? Which prison? There needs to be a system. There needs to be a reform system that would occupy them. We need to replace them from the criminal activities they are doing with other activities that will provide employment for them. So a few times they talk about all this, their neighborhood watch as means of employing people. Sometimes I feel bad about it, but now I can understand it. And I think another thing that I would say is we need to stop street hawking. So that when we see anybody on the road, street hawkers, Mariah, I know you plantain chips, even me, popcorn, and those that buy.
That's what makes like Lagos,
everything. But this, I have my sister-in-law on Freedom Way in Lekki. That Freedom Way towards the place where you link the express. She was attacked by a man, a young boy, holding plantain chips. The boy had plantain chips in his hand, and he was like, give me money, give me money. So she said she crossed over the divider into the other side of the road. If she didn't have a car high enough to do that, how would she have escaped? So this was a plantain chips holding guy. Yes, some of them, this is their only means of income, but he also hides, the criminals hide among them.
So they ban it then, and all of us go back to the streets.
But do you know it has happened to us once that a hawker warned us about a robbery happening in front.
You see, so
my point is that if Lagos State government say today now, I want to ban Okada, I want to ban a hawker.
Those
of us now will now
we actually have more criminals, Mariah.
Okadas are not allowed in Kano. Lagos seems to be the only state where Okadas are allowed.
Let me take this call from Abu. Abu, are you there?
They ban Okada in Kano.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Hello, Abu, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
In the studio.
Good morning.
Tope, I don't know. I think I owe you a bottle of champagne for the last point you just made. That was, yes. Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Listen to your phone.
Yes, I said,
you're listening.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Listen to your phone.
And I said I owe Tope a bottle of champagne.
We heard you the first time, yes.
Yes, so my take is that there should be a structural response. The government should have an intentional response to this problem. We should be able to create a database for, our children, and start from, for me, the Child Rights Act, personal domestication of the Child Rights Act in all the states of the Federation.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I lost that call. So, you see, he touched on something that was important. We have data. We know the names of everybody. So, for example, if I arrest you right now for trying to rob Tope, and I have your database, I know your name, I know your family, maybe your mother could be billed or something. There's some, I can't put you in jail, but I don't have the space. But I can trace your family such that either somebody paid for the crime that you committed. So I value the phone that I've gotten from you, and I know it's your mother's shop. We're going to remove X amount of tax. I'm just saying out of my head.
Yeah.
But there are ways of ensuring that they pay for these crimes somehow.
Yes. So, there are two facts here. We constantly talk about needing to recruit more police officers. If we need more of them on the streets. We need to recruit more. And of course, also we need to do better training of our police officers because, you know, alongside these boys, we also have some police officers who will stop you to demand for bribe too, you know. So that's something we need to work on with our police officers. Secondly, also is the prisons, like you mentioned. If our prisons, our correctional centers are full, you know, with more hardcore criminals,
you can't put them there.
You find that, you know, when these hoodlums come in, they sort of decide, okay, maybe we'll keep them for a week or two, keep them in the cell, and then, you know, release them back out into society because maybe whatever they do, they only create small damage. But I think that we need to start thinking of putting those, what do you call it? The chains on them. What do you call that? When you put them under house arrest. So maybe we need to start looking at that. And then they say that when you leave a particular area, then, you know, it will electrocute you or something like that. We need to look at that. We need to find more creative ways to handle these things. If we do not have, if we do not have enough room to put all of them there, then we have to find a place that they can stay in their homes and away from innocent citizens until they are rehabilitated.
We have to wrap up on this, but I think, I mean...
I wanted to say that from experience, I know that every arrested person, hoodlum, in any area is within the data of the area command, or within the police.
Let me go on a break. I'm sure we can continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're talking about Tope's James Bond move over the weekend, you know. And your prayer and fasting, activating your faith
before you enter road.
Because, and it's not because there's a widespread of insecurity, but it's more like they're doing roads. Because let's be very sure that what's causing this thing. Because they are doing roads across the state, and I know it's from evening. So when you're driving from 8 p.m. or so, from 7 p.m., they begin to close the roads in preparation to work all night. Remember, we told them that please don't work during the day because we're going to work. We asked them to please work at night, which they have done. But now working at night is not causing these issues. They work at night. I mean, in that expressway, the lights, the trucks are there, they bring the big out lamps and all them, and they're tying the roads. So I know there's work ongoing. Now, how do we have work continue and safety of citizens together? And that's the real conversation here.
So I was going to say something that there's been every community, the good boys of our society, they have bosses, every one of them. They have bosses that they trail them to. There was a conversation we had few years back, and I was talking to someone within Computer Village. He said, if PIN lost inside this Computer Village, we know who we go call. When we call the person, they go bring out that PIN from here. And it has happened within Mushin area where my mom was doing business, that if something is missing, when you go and meet the Oga will just call his boy and say, bring it out. It happened with Mariah's phone. When the attack happened, they say, wow, these people have this pin. Bring it out.
Yes,
every of the good boys have bosses, and these bosses have contact with our police officers. So just the same way we must find political solutions to these things, we need to find political solutions to the hoodlum and the robbery going on, where we have conversations with the Ogas of our good boys. And we talk to them that these good boys need to calm down because there are major economic effects on these things. I have investors that are telling me, Tope, you're the one you say we should come and invest in Nigeria, we should come and buy land. Would I come and buy land or buy houses in Lagos and I cannot go to I can't go out at night, I can't go to a party and all of that. So there is impact, direct impact on the FDI that could come into this country because we are having security challenges. So the governor was not, it's not just about, yes, they are empower the police, light up the states, then talk to the Ogas of these good boys and let them understand you can no longer operate like this now.
Sure. Good morning. Are you there? From Abuja, I believe. Good morning.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. You're live.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel, calling from Abuja.
Yes, go ahead.
Precisely. Same thing happened to me yesterday when I was flying from, what's it called, cked. I had to stop at that Maryland. Just not knowing that as I was talking to someone by the right hand side, the guy just broke the, what's it called? My window glass. That was how I was robbed, to my laptop and everything. It's not knowing that the person I was even talking to, that question, is also their member. That's how they picked up my laptop and everything. But the only advice I would give to that lady on yellow, in case of next time, if you're, the reason why the white people did that car for horn, that horn for the car. If you are in a traffic like that next time, like what you should do, blow horn. The way they're down for you to blow in Lagos. Blow for 2 minutes. People will run and check on you that what is wrong with this person. Those people trying to rob you, they will go away. I'm just calling because of you. You're calling about you yourself now about the issue you're going through.
Right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I think that's what she did.
My hand was permanently on the horn and I was maneuvering. And because my hand was there, people made room for me. But I think that it's good that we're making it public so that we also have our own ways of protecting. Anybody caught that situation, just press the horn permanently. It also might alert security operatives around to know that something is going on.
The security officer said to me that as a lady, we like to keep our things on the seats. That's why we were robbed. So even though I didn't keep, I used to make sure when I'm driving, I have to keep my important things like laptops under the seat. But your phone, for instance, I don't drive in Lagos without being on the map. I have to know what is up ahead of me. I don't want to be stuck in traffic based on my experiences. And I don't want to be caught behind a truck. So I want to see. In fact, before I move and live anywhere I am, I have to first of all check the map. When I was at your mother's event, I checked the map to make sure that mobile traffic was thinning out until I could measure it to the thinnest.
So we all work with our phones. Phones almost
so your phones are with you.
Well, I don't do this anymore. But when I was single, I used to do that. I used to have a bag for this kind of things because as a single girl then, you're by yourself. I have a bag that has an old phone that I don't use. So an old wallet that has about maybe 2,000 or something like that. I just like a dummy bag. It's just in case I get robbed, I just hang the bag. And that was my mentality then. But I've not done that recently. I don't know why. But
that's an idea.
It's another idea to have. Okay, we have to wrap up on this. I think I'd like to take a few messages before we run off, please. Any messages?
Dicey says, in America, we have what we call neighborhood watch, and that is done by its own citizens. My fellow Nigerians can practice that as well.
If Young says there should be enough police in traffic-prone areas. We have 1,000+ spy police in Nigeria presently that can do the work. Police authorities should, since can recruit them. Ifelola says, ladies, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos arrested 108 young men, most with families, last week Monday from the Merchant Navy camp in Ugudu, accusing them of impersonation. Till today, they are in police cell without being taken to court. It should take them to court instead of creating means of extorting money from family members.
See, it's a multi-layered issue, you know. So we have to wrap up on this. But I think generally we have to just be careful out there. There's a lot of road work going across the state. And because of this, citizens should be careful. And we can also ask government to please give us more lights so that when it's well lit, people can feel a bit more secure and then more police patrol. And the police should be patrolling, not just in one spot. Like to patrol, walk around, let people know that. And I know that these boys are also equipped. So the police, they're also scared for their own life, you know. But hey, at this point, I will add faith and prayer. I mean, extremely important. With all your please. Add prayer, fasting, binding is very important in Lagos. That's all we can take. When we come back, another hot topic, I think it's Let's Talk now on the issue of direct primaries. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'll be discussing this controversial issue of direct primaries. Joining us on the show now is the Honorable Uju Kingsley Chima. He is representing Ohaji Egbema Oguta Oru West Federal of Imo State. And he's also a member of the APC. On the phone also we have Honorable Sergius Ogun, who is representing Ishan North, Southeast Federal Constituency of Edo State. and is a member of the People's Democratic Party. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start with Honorable Sergius Ogun, because you are against direct primaries. And I'm starting with you because many Nigerians feel that direct primaries is a new way to go, especially they're excited because it means that every card-carrying member of the party can participate in the primary election. But you're against this. Why is this?
Yeah, I am against it for the simple reason that it's too expensive, because you will require elections being conducted in every unit, and that will mean that the party will have to mobilize their members to come out, and INEC will have to send monitors. So for me, that have over 196, we have over 196 wards in my state, Edo State, and I have over 100 units in my constituency. So it will mean that INEC will have to send minimum of 2 people to every unit where this election will take place. And as you know, INEC usually engage ad hoc staff during elections. So the people you have in INEC offices in the local government are usually no more than 10, even including their security men. So you have to dispatch that number of ad hoc staff and then security men to monitor all this.
Okay.
We cannot afford it. I am one that believes that we are spending too much on elections. You cannot be borrowing money from China to just fund elections. There are so many things crying for attention today. But if I might just add, as an individual, I do not mind direct primaries. But the bill that came from the committee to the House gave the option of direct or indirect. So the parties should be allowed to choose what works for them.
Okay.
That's my point.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, for me, it's if direct primaries, what best serves the people? What best represents, what best captures who it is that they would like for them to represent? If it's the direct primaries, then can't the party find cheaper ways, more creative ways to hold these direct primaries without incurring too many costs?
I agree with you. That is why the bill, before it was amended on the floor of the House during the clause-by-clause consideration by Honorable Femi Hakeem Gbajabiamila, the Honorable Member representing Surulere 1, Lagos, amended it. So I'm saying we should have adopted that one that said that we should do direct or indirect. No, the parties are allowed to choose direct or indirect. So the parties should be allowed to choose what works for them. As we speak today, go and check the party constitutions. The main political parties, PDP, APC, they have the option in their constitution, direct or indirect. So the parties should be allowed should be given the discretion to make that decision. It shouldn't be by law.
Right.
Even the United States of America that we are mimicking, the Democratic Party, they have that in their system.
All right, let me
you hear places they're talking about caucus.
Let me come to Honorable.
Voting by direct.
All right, sir. Let me come.
It should not be by law comparing the parties.
Right.
The parties have a right.
Let me come to Honorable Juchima. Let me add him to this conversation because he is completely in support of the direct primaries. And Honorable Sergio said that it's expensive. Do you agree?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank Honorable Sejus for alluding to the fact that him as an individual believes in direct primaries. If he believes in direct primaries, why do not shift the decision to parties to make or take decision on whether to do direct primaries or indirect primaries? And the idea of saying that it's too expensive, I do not believe in it as well too, because we have a budget. 2021, the executive arm of the government brought a budget of over 13 trillion to us and we passed it as a National Assembly. In 2022, we have another budget of 16 trillion, and which I know by special grace of God, I don't know how much we're going to pass, but I know that we're going to pass that budget again for implementation for 2022. And why should we say it's expensive? If we get a portion of that money to give Nigerians credible election, to give the people whom they really want to serve them, I don't think it is expensive. The foundation of true democracy begins from party primaries. And if a party do not get a representative that will give the people what they want, that will represent them in accordance with the details and the minds of the people, democracy has not thrived. So I strongly believe that the direct primary is sending us back to the era of Option A4. And what I mean by Option A4, where the people will queue behind whomsoever they want to elect as a representative. And you see the cost, we're talking about cost. My sister, Honorable Sejus, I can tell you today that if the party in your ward believes in Mr. A as the person that will leave them out of whatever infrastructural decay they have in their community or in their ward, I bet you that the people may or may not mind what will be the cost implication of them coming out to vote for whomsoever they want. Okay. And we say cost. Whereby NYC, hello?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
We have NYC, we have over how many thousand NYC all over the country. We can assist Nigeria. We can assist Nigerians too by making it in such a way that these NYC members can be deployed by INEC. I kept on saying it. INEC's role in party primary is mere observation, observing what is, when you use the word monitor, is observing the process, whether is it free and fair, and report back to their head office. INEC is not a person conducting the party primaries by what our electoral act provides for. So the idea of crying more than the bereaved, INEC is like the bereaved. We're saying that it's not so much. It's neither here nor there.
All right, let me get a few more questions in. Go ahead, Ima.
So,
who's your question
to? From Edo State. The Edo State parties sold forms last year, before the elections. For nomination forms during the last general election, presidential alone was 45 million. Governorship was about 20 million. What exactly, and our belief was that, this was used to run the primaries within parties. Is this correct? And if yes, so why then do we think that there's no money to fund direct primaries within parties?
My dear sister, you don't want to go into that. Maybe we should just not bother discussing that here. Because you also know in this amendment, we have also increased the monies that political parties can spend or candidates can spend in the election, from House of Assembly to the National Assembly to governorship and to presidential elections. And all this one is even a lie. People are saying, but why are they increasing it? So if what you have just said now is correct, that the party can raise a lot of money, and then people have talked about party members paying dues and contributing money, why are we still increasing the monies that people should spend to win election? If any governor tells you, I don't know about the north, but in the south and maybe in the southwest, if any governor tells you they spent less than 15 billion, maybe 20 billion to win their governorship election proper, forget about the primaries, that governor, I can tell you, is lying. No, we talk about the national. So those monies, I don't know where they go to. But even at that, it's not even enough. It's not enough to mobilize people to come out and queue. But if I might even add, my dear brother talked about Option A4. Why did we not amend this electoral act to reflect the Option A4 in the general election? That's the contradiction. That one is cheaper. And my brother also mentioned something about getting NYC, but you have to pay. NYC are INEC ad hoc staff. They are paid. Yes, they come to observe, but you have to pay them. They are not on INEC payroll, but for that period, when they come out to work for elections, you have to pay them. You have to manage the logistics, move them from point A to point B, and then pay them an allowance.
All right, let me go on
like
a quick...
I said, I don't mind it.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, I'll let you talk about sending a question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of direct primaries or not. And we still have Honorable Uju Kingsley Chima with us and Honorable Sejos Ogun with us. Tope had a question before the break. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Honorable Uju Chima, I wanted to ask you, your colleague in the assembly said that why didn't they put the option available for two so that the parties would choose? Why is the new law specific for parties and not specific for and not giving that option for internal democracy for the parties to decide what best suits them per time? Why do you believe that policy that clause was put in specifically?
Well, thank you very much. I sincerely thank the leadership of the National Assembly, more especially the Senate President and the Speaker. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Yeah, more especially the Senate President and the Speaker for standing by the side of the people. Whether anybody want to believe it or not, I like what Honorable Sejus asked. He was on the floor of the House when we debated the Electoral Act Amendment, and he knows actually the entries that played out during the debate. It was a very long debate that even led to a lot of issues and counter issues. Nobody has mandated the parties to choose. Nobody has mandated the party. But what we are looking at, or what the National Assembly is looking at, is how to get our electoral process right. And if it means giving laws or making laws that can shape our democracy, that can sustain our democracy, I don't see any crime attached to it. I remember when I made mention of Option A4, I said it because Nigerians, even up to today, are saying that Abiola's election was the best election ever had in this country. Check it even within you. And this election, because it emanated from the grassroots to the top. Let me tell you, my sister, nobody, it's very difficult for people to rig elections at the village and the ward level, because everybody, both the man and the woman, the whole persons from that community knows themselves. And if you rig an election against a popular candidate, that rigged election cannot see the light of the day, cannot sustain, and cannot meet the test of time, because the people will vote within that local level. So for me, I never see it as a crime if National Assembly in her wisdom could see that the best way to sustain our democracy is making a law that will revert back electoral process back to the people.
Going by
back to the people. Hello, I'm
Honorable Chima, going by the fact that the governors are totally against the idea that it has been a law. So some of them do agree that we should internally decide on which to go with. However, the issue is legalizing it kind of makes it cast in stone, and that's the real issue. So are you saying it's totally necessary to make it legal and not have it?
My sister, it is long overdue and very necessary. Have we not been the party's options all these years to choose who becomes their candidate? And what is happening in almost all the parties? Few persons will sit in their bedroom and write names of delegates and write names of candidates and submit to INEC. And INEC do not have the power to remove or add any candidate or candidates brought by political parties. I feel that instead of we playing in the hands of these few individuals who believe that Nigeria is their own estate, who believe that they can do anything and get away with it, instead of we mortgaging the future of our children, mortgaging the Lagos East Road, mortgaging our rail line, mortgaging the poor electricity supply, mortgaging all this in the hands of these few who never wanted this country to succeed. The best thing we can do is put it as a law. So the moment you violate it, the court of laws will actually give you the interpretation that will suit what is the best form of having a democracy sustained. Mind you, each time we go to court or on election matters, the court will say that the party decides what they will do. So if a party decides now to give a blind and a cripple the ticket of the party because maybe he's going to be he's going to be sort of he's going to be he's going to do the bidding of his own godfather. Mm-hmm. The party goes with it. Mm-hmm. We don't care whether it's going to be counterproductive or not. Right. How long shall we continue to be in this kind of bondage?
Okay. Let me come to... Yeah, go ahead.
But I've heard your argument for, direct primaries. The governors, the entire governors forum have been in the papers all past weeks calling on the National Assembly to do differently. And they also can put pressure on the president before his accent is on this law. Do you think that this would eventually be sustained? So that we're not just going back and forth.
Hello. Is it me you're asking? No, I'm actually on the program.
Yes, sir.
Is it me?
Yes, sir.
Honorable you?
Honorable, yes. Okay.
Let me tell you the simple truth. I actually believe that the governors will have a rethink, believing that this is actually a clarion call from the people of Nigeria. If their reasons is that the cost of conducting party primaries will be so high, there's no governor in Nigeria that cannot fund party primaries in his state. There's no governor in Nigeria that cannot raise up funds that will support the national party in doing their primaries. And I don't see a genuine reason of funding or a genuine reason that funding is a problem of direct primaries. So if funding, unless Nigeria is saying today that 350 billion naira from what INEC is saying is too much for us to give out to the people of Nigeria and have a credible, free and fair election. Right. But if it's not too much, we'll be spending trillions of naira on issues that do not even impact positively on the lives of the people.
All right, let me come to Honorable Sergius.
That satisfy the interests of few individuals.
Let me come to
Honorable. Why can't we spend such money to have free and fair elections?
So, Honorable Sergius, let me come to you. Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chima. Let me come to Honorable Sergius because they have raised the issue of the fact that we have to weigh the costs. So we're saying, yes, it might cost some money, but if we're looking at the fact that this is how we're going to strengthen our democracy, is a cost we have to pay. Do you agree? Or do you have a change of heart?
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind the fact that if we have a system that can work for everyone and in the long run will help build this democracy. I don't have a problem with that, but even the direct primary is not foolproof. Or it's not foolproof. Okay, now I take you to the election that produced the direct primary that produced the current governor of Lagos State. I remember you people were there to cover it. Governor Sanwo-Olu scored 970,000 votes. Governor Ambode scored 72,000, bringing it to a total of 1.43 million votes. In the general election, Sanwo-Olu scored 739,000 votes. So which means the 970,000 APC members that came out to vote for him in the primaries didn't come out to vote in the general election. There are independents that say, okay, we just like this guy. They didn't come to vote. There are any opposition that will say, okay, no, on the governorship, I will vote for APC or something. All those guys didn't come to vote. If it becomes more scandalous, if you look at the direct primary that brought the president in, with the kind of votes that he scored in Kano and Kaduna, compared to the votes he got in the general election. So if you are talking about it's more transparent, it's giving opportunity to people to vote, it didn't reflect in the primaries that were done by the APC. It didn't reflect. So it's still subject to manipulation. So when you're talking about the governors not being comfortable and all that, if the governors want to run it, they will run it. It just means that they will dissipate more energy. That's all.
Right.
Because in fairness to everyone, people are buying votes now. If you know what went down in this Anambra election, my sister, you all have headaches there. And then you now have to do that twice because you have to encourage the people to come out first.
Okay, I'll come back to you on Honorable Sergius. I'll come back.
So let me retreat.
Right. Please reiterate. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, that I personally, I do not mind direct primaries. But what I'm saying, that should be left for the parties to decide. Even the APC, they looked at the states and said, okay, what is workable for this state is direct. They look at other states and say, what is workable here is indirect. That flexibility should be there.
Okay.
Don't let it be a law that is not cast in stone, that you cannot move it either way.
All right.
And that is over legislation. That's the point I'm making.
All right, go ahead, Tope.
Okay, so I want to ask you, Honorable Sergio Sogun, you mentioned money. You mentioned it being expensive. That seemed like your major argument against this. Aside from the monetary part, what else do you think is the reason this direct system would not work? That's number one. Number two, you heard what your colleague said, saying that the idea of godfathers or a few people deciding by virtue of just writing names who becomes who within the state needs to stop. Do you not agree that this would end that system, even though we'll be paying more for it?
It will not. It will not. Like I mentioned, you cover the governorship primaries, the direct primaries in Lagos. Are you telling me that the godfather there didn't have his say on who emerged? Yeah, because you cannot tell me a sitting governor could not muster even 100,000 votes. A sitting governor. So it's not fraud-proof. That's what I'm saying. It's still open to fraud. It's still open to manipulation. If the governors want a candidate, don't forget the governors control the parties. In the major political parties, they say the governor is the leader of the party. So he controls the state chairman, the local government chairman, and then even the ward chairman. They are all controlled by the governor. If he gives instruction down, or she gives instruction down to say, look, these are the people that must come out. These people should be encouraged. If you hear that, look, I have received 2,000 naira to come out tomorrow to vote in the direct primary, and that person say, they didn't give me. Okay, the party didn't want me to vote them. Most likely they will go to their farms. You know? So if you tell people not to go to their farms to come out to vote, you must give them something.
Wow.
You must compensate them. So I go back to the cost. So to say that the godfathers will not be able to pull their weight is not correct.
Okay.
It boils down to people putting money down and doing what they want to do.
All right. Let me come to Mariam.
So let's get it right. But
all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mariam.
Yes. So, Honorable Ujuchiba, my question is... Okay. So, personally, I feel that direct primaries is like a way forward. We're talking e-voting, we're talking electronic voting, we're talking e-transmission. And I feel, personally, that direct primaries will just make this, one cohesive move forward in our electioneering process. But, listening to Honorable Sergius, where he says that manipulation can still occur, in the direct primaries. And you seem so confident that this would solve many of the problems that we have at the primaries. Is there any response you have for him to further convince him, allay his fears, convince Nigerians that direct is better and manipulations will actually disappear or be minimized?
Thank you very much. Honorable Sergius is one of the resource persons we have in the House. And looking at him,
yes,
looking at him, you can see that he's only doing a collective line of his political party. Sergius is not speaking as Sergius I know, because he has said earlier that he supports direct primaries. And if you talk about manipulation, I want to ask Honorable Sergius the question. Let's go for Anambra election. Let's use Anambra election as an example. You have over 2.something million people who are supposed to vote in Anambra's election. What it means is you have eligible voters of within the range of 2.something million people, sorry. And if I may ask, is it cheaper to lobby financially induce 2.something million people? Or is it cheaper to induce the delegate form of primaries that they do in states where only 10 or 5,000 people will go and elect their choice of candidate for the general election. I strongly do not agree with Zedus that money will play in. There's no system that is perfect. There's no system in the world that is perfect. Even the most advanced democracy we just witnessed was America's election, USA election. And you can see too that a lot of, even one of the candidates came out to say that the election was cheated out of the election. So what I'm saying in essence is now that the only thing that survive actively in this country are those things that are. The best thing we can do now is inculcate these direct primaries in our legal system so as to have an institution that is stronger than any individual. An institution that is stronger than people's personal interest. And that is the only way to go. Let me give you an example with the Apuga candidate. Hello?
You can hear you.
Hello?
Very clearly.
Let me give you an example with Apuga candidate in the last election. My sister, whether anybody likes Soludo's name or not, but nobody will say that Soludo is a mediocre or is not fit to govern the state. What is the educational background? A first-class material, University of Nigeria. What is pedigree? Former advisor on economic matters to the president of Obasanjo, former CBN governor. Even though he was is in APCA, he's still a member of economic team of our own APC government. That is to tell you the confidence too our government reposes in him in making him a member of the economic team. So on that note, you can see that APGA took time to choose a candidate that is marketable to the people. And that may have formed to them winning the election convincingly, having about 19 local governments out of 21.
Right.
21.
We have to wrap up.
That's the product of a primary that is free and fair, a primary that produced a credible candidate. Right. And I can tell you, if Nigeria begins to get, Honorable Sedus knows this, he is a product. I know his work. Right. I know his constituency. Honorable
we have to wrap up, sir.
Product of competent choice by his people. Yeah. And that is why he has been winning the election. He couldn't have won the election if we give this in the hands of one individual. They will never nominate Honorable Sedus to be the party flag.
We have to wrap up with that. Thank you very much, Honorable Chima. So on this issue of direct or indirect primaries, we're speaking with Honorable Uju Kingsley Chima, who is representing Ohaji, Egbema, Oguta, or West Federal Constituency of Imo State, and also a member of APC. And we're always speaking with Honorable Sergius Ogun, who is also representing the Ishan Northeast Federal Constituency of Edo State. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show today. I think, to summarize, I think Nigerians have a trust issue with parties. We don't. We just have a trust issue, and if we continue with the system where a certain group of people are deciding who becomes who goes into primaries, Nigerians still consider distrust. But once you open it up where we feel like every card-carrying member can be a part of the process, even though it's expensive, it begins to gradually win the trust of the people. Nigerians can say, okay, I'm part of this process. Maybe things can get better. So it's a step in the right direction, as Miriam has said earlier. Yes, it might cost us a bit, but I think many Nigerians believe that this is a good step and we should actually embrace it. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.